The Stars have made some interesting moves, and I think chief among them has to be the loss of Chris Tanev, which kind of felt like a priority signing that now all of a sudden is not.
I mean, listen, you could read the tea leaves on this one. Everything that Jim Nill was saying over the course of the last several weeks was indicating that it was going to be at the very least hard to re-sign Chris Tanev. He kept saying that he kept knocking the batteries out of his calculator and trying again, trying to have different numbers come up, and it just never materialized. Chris Tanev, his rights anyway, traded to the Maple Leafs. Saad, you've been closer to this team than probably just about anybody over the course of the last several years. What do you make of the move, and what do you make of the Stars as they begin the process of trying to, again, find that last puzzle piece or two to a championship?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about supply and demand. And, a lot of times when we were talking about this free agency for the Stars, it was Duchesne and Tanev. And I always said, I get it. Tanev plays the more premium position. It's hard to find right shot defensemen. But at the same time, he is a guy who's going to be in high demand. There's going to be a bidding war. And the Stars just can't afford to get into that right now, literally, because they have a lot of contracts coming up. Now, 2025 is going to be a big year for them when Jamie Benn and Radek Faksa and Esa Lindell all come off the books, at least at the price tags that they're at. But right now, they have to look at Jason Robertson coming up, Wyatt Johnston coming up, Thomas Harley coming up. Jake Ottinger coming up. There's a lot of business that they have to do. And what I hear that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to do with Tanev is try to give him a 6-year deal to reduce the cap hit, and so that they can kind of get him at a smaller tag average per year. But I think for the Stars, I understand the void there is at defenseman, but you still have Miro Heiskanen, you have Esa Lindell right now, you have Thomas Harley, and what you're really banking on is for Leon Bitchel to be what he is supposed to be, which is a solid top 4 defenseman. You hope that he's ready to go by the start of the season.
Well, we knew going into this offseason, I believe the numbers were Dallas was 18th out of the 32 NHL teams with just under $18.5 million in terms of cap space for this season. So we knew it was going to be hard for Jim Nill to try to do that calculator computing that you were talking about, Mike. Jamie Benn, coming into this postseason said that he felt like they were deeper than they were last year. Even with the pieces, they haven't been able to get over that hump. It'll be interesting to see what are they able to manipulate in order to not just get back, but to get there.
I think the interesting thing with Tanev's departure on some level was he was kind of the face of the defense. He was one of the more aggressive guys on the blue line, and it was nice having that rock-solid guy back there. It's not saying that the Stars don't have depth at that position, but the premium defender does make a difference, and I'm not sure they get through Vegas or Colorado without him. It's sad to see someone of Tanev's stature go, and at the same time realize that that is just the nature of hockey right now in general, that you can try and amass these teams for one-year experiments, and if it doesn't get it done, some of your favorite guys are gone. And I think the best example of that, though, might be Pavelski. But go ahead, Saad.
Well, I was just going to add, let's not forget Miro Heiskanen, though. When you still have a guy like him who is legitimately one of the top 3 to 5 defensemen in the world,
right, and
he can play on the left and right side, and then you have Thomas Harley, who's a nice up-and-comer, I think your top pairing should be pretty solid. And I agree with you. I don't know how far Dallas gets if Chris Tanev's not there, because you need that defensive defenseman who plays a physical style. But the Stars aren't going to start from scratch here. They have Harley and Heiskanen. And, for a while when they were playing together last year, they weren't the best pairing on the Stars. They were one of the best pairings in the entire league. And so I think there is a factor of you need to fill out the depth, but I think the Stars are in a decent spot.
That's comforting to hear, especially after Pavelski retiring, which I think was needed on some level. There were enough moments in the playoffs specifically where you could see the age catching up to the tires. Mike, you've thrown some ideas out there as how he could try and contribute to next year's team, which
I don't know how realistic it is.
Right.
Jim Nill did say that they'd welcome him back in any sort of off-ice role for sure. I have this pie-in-the-sky mentality of hey, maybe, in February or whatever. I know there's cap constrictions and rules that he's got to kind of fall within.
Just get him on LTIR and it'll be fine. That's how every team does it these days.
Yes, just go full Vegas Golden Knights and get him on the roster and just have him there for when you need him in the postseason and give him one last run. I'd love to see the guy come back even for just like a 3-month spurt and give it one more shot, because why not?
Listen, one of my favorite, I'm a Lightning fan, so I'll just throw that out there and apologize for 2020, but have the idea of Pavelski being on a 1 minute and 20-second shift like Stamkos in Game 3 of that series is kind of the thing dreams are made of, and we can only hope, but there's a lot that goes into that.
We'll see.
Saad, I'm curious from your perspective, is there anything in the draft that we should look at as a guy that could spark the same way that some of the young guns did this year?
With the NHL draft, obviously, if you're not picking in the top 5, top 10, you're not looking at these guys really coming in and contributing right away. So a lot of the guys everybody the Stars pick, no one's going to be an instant contributor. But I think if you are talking about the draft and who can contribute immediately, to me, it's 2 names. I think they traded away, the Stars traded away Ty Dellandrea because they want to make sure there's a spot there for Maverick Bourque in a premium spot, not just taking 4th-line minutes or anything like that. So that, I believe that was their 2020 first-round pick. And then you look at their 2022 first-round pick, I believe, in Leon Bitzel, and I think he's going to have a clear opportunity to make the roster if he's ready. I would say Bourque is going to be on the roster when the season starts. I think with Bitzel, the way that we saw the Stars work Thomas Harley and let him grow in the AHL and then bring him in when he was ready, it wouldn't surprise me if Leon Bitzel was somebody that started off in the AHL, but when the playoff run was getting ready to go, he would be on the roster, and he would be in a top 4 spot, in my opinion.
Again, it's tough when you look at a team that's made it this far the last couple of years and think, what is that missing piece? But you got to like what you've seen over the last few and hope that this regime, again, 2-time reigning
Took the words right out of my
general
mouth.
manager
Yeah.
of the year.
You
Jim
got
Nill
Nill
at the
calling
helm.
the shots.
Exactly.
You've got reason to feel like he's going to pull the right strings. And in some form or fashion, chances are pretty good Jim Nill is going to figure something out